to pay attention to how the hands were moving. It's concentration. In talking about snare drum technique, I would like to quote Buddy Rich himself, and this is from an article out of Modern Drummer magazine, and the date on it is December 1980, January 1981. And he's asked about, do you use the Billy Gladstone method of playing? And Buddy's response is, Billy Gladstone's concept was totally legitimate. He was a great snare drum artist. I used to listen to him at Radio City. Great wrists. I'm opposed to all that talk about finger control and all that nonsense. The same with this matched grip business. I don't understand that at all. I've yet to hear a guy play a closed roll with a matched grip. It seems to be terribly awkward to play that way. It goes against the position of your hands. Your left hand falls to the left, not to the right. I've seen guys play snare drum with the head facing towards them or towards them. Wow, that's a good trick. That's as good as a trick as some of these guys with cymbal stands 5 feet high with the cymbals on backwards. That's an interesting picture. Look, it looks like a sick giraffe with a very large head. That's modern, I suppose, but it's not exactly playing, but it's modern. I'm more into a simple way of playing. My playing is simple because there's very little exertion or effort that goes into it. What I do is play naturally. The upper part of my body is totally relaxed, and I can manipulate the stick so that I don't have to use full arm strokes to get from the snare drum to the tom-tom. My wrists are flexible enough without having to use a lot of arm motion. It's tiring lifting up the whole arm to get one movement from the lower part of the wrists. I can flex my wrists, and it's natural, from side to side, up and down, or striking the cymbal from underneath. It's a matter of being flexible enough to control the stick. You can't control the stick with your fingers. Try it. It'll fall right out of your hand. You must get a grip on the stick and allow the stick freedom within that grip because you control it with your hand. And when you grip the stick, you don't choke it. You let it breathe so that there's room in there for letting the stick bounce. It's all natural stuff, but it's not something that's taught. No drum teacher will tell you, okay, let the stick bounce 3 times. All right, so this is a quote, exactly what I was talking about on how he held the drumsticks. All right, he didn't believe that it was simply just fingers. It was a motion of the wrists. And when he was talking about going from snare drum to tom-tom, what he was referring to is that he didn't necessarily have to make a whole arm motion, that he could play from his snare drum to the floor tom by a stick motion. All right, I'm going to play some paradiddles on the drums to give you an example of what he was talking about. All right, my whole arm could make the motion, but the wrist is flexible enough to make the motion. That's what he was talking about. Instead of making wasted motion using the entire arms, that his wrists were flexible enough that he could move around the drum set that way. All right. Next, I'd like to talk about the drums themselves.